During this 2019 visit to our daughter in California, we went to the Niles Canyon Railway in Fremont. This depot at the railway was built to a standard Southern Pacific design in 1884. We spent a full afternoon, rode 2 trains, and looked at the rolling stock. Our first ride was behind a GP9 diesel that was built for the Southern Pacific in 1955. My wife and I, our daughter and her husband, and their 2 boys all were there. The railway's website says it was originally part of the Transcontinental Railroad built by the Western Pacific. The first trains went through here in 1866. The Central Pacific bought the Western Pacific in 1869 and eventually became part of the Southern Pacific, which operated the line until 1984. This 262T was built in 1924 and is awaiting overhaul. Between train rides, we saw the railroad's model train exhibit. Our second ride was behind a 2442 Mallet steam locomotive, which, according to Wikipedia, was Baldwin's first Mallet, built in 1909. It performed so well they received orders for a lot more of them. The locomotive turned out to be too heavy for the original owner's tracks, so it was immediately sold to Whitney Logging Company, which operated it on the Columbia River Beltline. Whitney gave its locomotives names, and this one was named Skookum, a Chinook term meaning strong, powerful, reliable. Whitney sold Skookum in 1920, and the new owner gave it the number 7. Skookum was sold again in 1933 to the Deep River Logging Company, which operated it until 1955, when the company decided to scrap all its steam locomotives. Skookum was headed for the scrap heap. Luckily for Skookum, a few months before it was due to be scrapped, it derailed, fell off a trestle, and landed in a muddy creek bed. The company realized it would cost more to get it out than the scrap would be worth, so they left it there. Steam locomotives require constant attention. Dresser Bridge was built in 1906 to replace the original wooden one. When our ride was over, we stayed and watched as the train took off on another trip. This steam release might be to adjust the boiler pressure, to improve the draft for the fire, or it could be just for show. We'll see the engineer open the cylinder cocks to let water out that may have condensed in the cylinders. Skookum was in the mud for 5 years until a rail fan bought it and was able to move it piece by piece out of the creek. The pieces remained in storage for decades, but in 2004 restoration began. It wasn't until 2018 that Skookum was steamed up, and it made its first public run in March 2019. 64 years after it fell into the mud, and only 6 months before these pictures were taken. It was a great day on the railroad, and now I've got 2 little rail fans coming up.